Welcome to the Asian Connection Mortgage Podcast, where we connect Asian Canadians together to talk about anything related to real estate, mortgages, and finances, based out of Vancouver. Our host is John Lee, mortgage broker with Arise Mortgage. Grab a bubble tea and enjoy the episode.
Welcome to another episode of the Asian Connection Mortgage Podcast. My name is John Lee, mortgage broker in Vancouver. And today we have a special guest today. We have Dave Yang. He is a realtor with the Key Agents. How's it going, Dave?
I'm good. Thanks, John, for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for participating in this
Yes,
mortgage podcast.
yes,
Today we're going to be talking about a guide to buying and selling with confidence.
yes.
This is a quite a interesting topic, an important
Mm,
topic as well for those who are buying and selling, especially when the market's no, we're not really sure
yes,
what's going on with the market and when there's
mm,
so much like lack of confidence in the
yes, yes, yes.
so it's really important to talk about this and to
Mm,
talk about how working with a realtor can help with that confidence. But
mm,
so first off, before we talk about you as a realtor, I just
yes,
want to learn more about you as a person,
yes,
as a dad,
yes,
as a family guy. So
yes.
yeah, tell me more about that.
Yeah. I wake up every day at 4:15 in the morning. And for those that don't know, I go
Yeah.
to the gym. Yeah. John's always checking my Instagram stories when he's waking up in bed, and I'm already done. I live in Port Moody. I've been there for about 10 years. I have a family. I have two girls. They're 9 and 5. Very active. And I'm also Korean. So a lot of people think that my last name is Yang. So they assume that I'm Chinese. I don't typically look like you're Korean. And John, I think when we first met, you thought that I was Chinese. So
Yes,
yeah,
I thought so
yes,
too.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
but no, you tricked me. And you know what? I'm sure like for those who just find you on Google, they'll just come
Yes,
and be like, "Oh, ni hao," and or like just
yes, yes. All the time, all the time, all the time. Even like the buyer's agents, if I'm the seller's agent, they're always speaking Chinese to me. So no.
Um, well, I also want to learn more about that. So you're
Sure.
Korean. So tell me more about your current roots. Like, are you first generation, second generation, and
Yeah, so I was born here.
okay,
So I do speak Korean fluently as my second language.
go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. My parents tortured me to go to Korean school. Yeah, like every other kid back in the
How
80s. So yeah.
how about Korean food? Is that something that you really like and enjoy?
Oh, love it. Even though I ate it every day growing up,
Yeah.
honestly, like even today, like I'm always craving it. I don't cook it as much, to be very honest.
Mhm.
So if I do have a craving, we'll go to the family restaurant and then check it out. Yeah.
So I'm not Korean, but if
I
I
can
were
tell.
to
I can tell.
No, I look like Filipino, even though I look
Yes,
like
yes.
I'm Chinese.
Yeah, yeah.
So so for someone who hasn't tried Korean food before,
Yes,
what would
yes.
you say is like the must try that like if they were to only try one dish, Korean food, what
That's a
would
great
that
question, John. I feel like I would have to ask you deeper on like what your tolerance levels are. Meaning, like if you can handle spicy, like what is your range? Like all Korean food is not
be?
spicy, but if you like beef or if you like a soup base, if you like noodles, like I feel like Korean food is not just like your Korean barbecue. So I would probably like dive deeper a little bit before and then be like, let's try this restaurant and get it going.
Um,
Yes.
just maybe like so say I'm in Korea, I want
Yes.
something traditional.
Yes.
I have no idea what that means.
Yes.
My tolerance is mild for spicy.
Mild for spicy. I would say go ask Google and ChatGPT.
And then it would just be like kimchi.
Yes, 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 yes.
No, but we're very thankful to have so many good Korean restaurants
Yes,
in like
yes,
Korean town, Tri-Cities area.
yes. Tons.
I would say my favorite would be like the tofu soups that
Oh, yeah, I've been there. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
very homey.
Mm,
Even though you're a restaurant, you just feel like
mm,
you're eating at home and
yes,
good comfort food as well.
yes.
But you know
What
what
is,
I learned is
mm,
that like when you ask any Korean servers,
yes.
is this spicy?
Mm.
Their response is usually, oh, to me, not spicy.
Was that
That
your
means
Korean impersonation?
that means it's crazy spicy,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to tell
yeah,
them to like really tone it down.
yeah. Like a mild version of spicy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like a Canadian version. Yeah, yeah.
So besides like no, you enjoying corn food, is there any other Asian food that you really like?
Mm, no, I'm gonna be honest. Like, just Korean food is kind of like my go-to
Oh,
as a treat meal.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we're
So
have so much pride in Korea. Korea.
just in food only.
Okay.
Just in food. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna dive into our topic today.
Yes, of course.
And so as a realtor, so what really inspired you to get into real estate and why do you love it so much?
Yeah, what drew me into real estate was the opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives, especially kind of like the most significant financial and emotional decision. And John, I think you can probably understand like it's a huge roller coaster.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I also saw a need for like a true like guideline of like where transparency is needed, especially in the process and like long-term thinking. So in terms of not just making a simple transaction, but like a roadmap of like where they need to go. Yeah.
And how long has it been now?
For me as a real estate agent,
Yeah, as a realtor.
yeah, 9 years, nine
Nine
years.
years.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
you've really gone through the ups and downs.
I sure did.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah. When people say real estate is easy, I say you can do my job, and we'll see
Oh,
how long you'll do it. It's
yeah.
it's a tough job. Yeah.
I know, like for me as a mortgage broker, it's tough as well. And I'm starting to get lots of gray hair. And I
Yes.
tell
Yes.
people each gray hair is one funded file. Uh, and then I guess eventually it's like the number of hair that I lose, then
Yes.
um that yeah, that's the next stage.
Jo- John, I have a solution for you. You can dye your hair so people don't know that you're stressed out,
You know,
right?
I thought of that because
Mm.
I've been to H Mart, I've been to
Yes.
Hanam, and there
Yes.
is a
Lather it up. Lather it
yeah,
all
those
up.
solutions that you can put in your
Yes.
hair.
Yes.
But uh I'm looking at the box, I'm like, this black looks really black.
Black. Yeah. So it'll be fake to
And
you.
I don't know, and
Mm.
like if that shade of black, even though black looks like black, but then
Yes.
apparently there's different shades,
Yes.
that it'll like be too much. So then like
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably just do on the side, and then all of a sudden I'll just have like really dark on the side, lighter
Dark
up
black
here.
here. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like a new
Or
fashion
it'll like
trend.
dye my scalp or something.
Yeah. New fashion trend. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, I tell people I like the salt and pepper look.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to think I look like the Asian George Clooney, but after I say that, people are just
Mm.
like silent and just like
Yes.
nod and smile and be like,
Mm.
sure, whatever, Sean.
Just like me right now.
So I no 9 years. That
Mhm.
what I assume just translates to working with a lot of clients
Yes.
and in the buy side and sell side as well.
Yes.
Um, and I would say, trust is really important for whatever the transaction it would be,
Yes.
whether it actually goes through or not. I think
Yes.
that's the goal with each client. So how do you ensure that your client feels confident when they're working with you?
Yeah. I think you touched up on a good point here. Like, and I think you can probably relate to this, John. I think trust isn't something that you ask for. I feel like it's something that you earn through action, right? So, like for me, like my style when I talk to my clients, I'm pretty upfront, and I'm informing them every step of the way, whether it's good or bad. So I don't sugarcoat anything. I always prioritize their best interests. So even if it means that I advise them not to buy or sell at the moment, I feel like that goes truly back to your point a long way. Whether it happens, if it doesn't happen now, it translates to something else. So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, last I heard in BC, there are probably like at least 15,000 realtors.
yes, correct. Slightly over 15.
That's like over 15?
Yeah,
Okay, I was gonna
yes,
say
yeah,
20. Let's say
yeah,
15,000. That's a lot of that's a lot of realtors.
yeah. A lot
Um,
of realtors. Yes.
but yeah, I'm checking out your Google reviews, and
Mm,
there's quite a few reviews on
mm,
there, all positives.
mm.
Um, so it really looks like you stand out of the crowd. So how do you stand out, and what are some things that you do to go the extra mile for clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm just speaking on behalf of my clients only. So I feel like my clients know that I just don't open doors to homes, if that kind of makes sense. Like open conversations that really matter, that really open it up. I'm always constantly thinking like 10 steps ahead. So from financing to inspection, making sure that there's no details missed. I treat like every single transaction like it's like my own home, or if there's money on the line. So
Mhm. Yeah, 10 steps ahead. I definitely don't want to play chess with you then. Definitely.
I,
But you know
I,
what really makes it easy is that no, in someone's life, they
mm,
probably buy and sell maybe what, three times in their whole
yes,
time, right?
max,
Yeah.
2 to 3 times.
But that's like the probably the bare minimum that
Yes,
you need to do per year
yes,
for you to have that experience. Like you
mm,
just know what it is from beginning,
hmm
and you just guide the clients through all of that. But each each transaction though is not the same.
no,
That's why I hear, because there's
yes,
so much like negotiation in place.
yes, yes.
What would
Different personalities. Yeah.
Yeah, different personality, different situation, different
Mm,
type
mm.
of uh product as well. So
Yes, yes, yeah.
with all of these different situations,
Mm,
what
mm.
would you say is the most memorable success story that you have working with a buyer or seller?
Yeah, I actually had just one recently. So, a good friend of mine, they were looking into a private deal. So there was a home that they were eyeing. It was like a neighbor. The neighbor poached them, saying, "Hey, you know what? Would you like to buy my home?"
Mm,
So they were already ready to kind of jump in, without any representation, which is fair. Like to each their own. They called me, asked for my opinion. So this is where I stepped in. So I said, hey, you know what? I feel like it's best in your interest to get representation, for due diligence, because we just don't know.
mm,
So the thing that was more memorable to me was I feel like, we uncovered a lot of items during the due diligence program, where, we saved them quite a lot, like probably almost about 10 to 15,000. So, and then we renegotiated like the terms for my client's benefit, not to the seller's benefit.
mhm,
So it wasn't just about saving money for that particular moment. I feel like it was protecting for their future and like because they were very transparent on why they wanted to move into the place because they want to stay in the neighborhood. They have kids. They want to stay in the school catchment. So I go, if we're going to make this move, I feel like you need to kind of have someone as a quarterback, just to kind of coach you guys. So, and when they kind of like agreed, it was a lot smoother and they were much happier. So it was good.
Now, I do want to dive a little more about this. I love
Yes,
this. So
yes,
you save them tens of thousands of dollars.
yes,
Can you it's two questions. Like, so one,
yes.
like, how did you do that? Like, where in what areas did you save them? And
Hmm.
number two is, how did the sellers feel? Because the sellers part, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be able to like
Yes, yes, yes,
save a whole bunch of
yeah,
commission and whatever savings
yes,
on
100%.
Barrett. And then you come in, is like, yo,
Hmm.
I'm gonna help my client, my
Yes,
buyer, and the seller, you gotta pay me.
yes,
Let's do this. And you actually
yes,
got it to work. So
yes.
I'm yeah, tell me more about that. I'm so curious.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like that's a great question because I feel like a lot of people don't understand like the optics behind it.
Hmm.
So I presented it to my clients saying, hey, you know what? There's a lot of inventory, which is a pure fact. So when you do the research in their particular area, there's very similar products on the market, sitting on the market, especially like higher price tier items. So for me, when I heard the story, I was just like, yes, I understand that she's pitching you the dream to buy her home. But when I look at the comps and do the research, I'm like, wait a minute, it's priced where she wants to net in order for her to buy. So there's a motivation that I figured out. Is like she has to buy something bigger, so she wants to net this money. So I go, that's fine. Like you're not a bank. That's what I told my guys. You're not a bank. You're not going to fund these guys because they want it. So
Yeah.
then I feel like, hey, you know what? You can either do this. You can either tell them we want representation, just for, for me to represent them, or you can put it on the market. Because at the end of the day, the buyers don't pay the commission at all. So,
Yeah.
and I was trying to pitch it to my guys saying, hey, you know what? It's better to go through the process rather than you going in blind. The house looks immaculate, which is fine, but you're not the expert. You don't know what's behind the walls. Like, are you paying like fair price? Like at this particular balanced buyer's market, I feel like you can negotiate to
Mhm.
a certain degree, certain level. So when I already knew the angle of like, hey, I don't think she's going to get her price because I feel like her price is a little bit on the high end. So then I was just like, I know we can get it lower. So as long as I kind of set that play, the chess piece that we're talking about, John, always 10 steps ahead, I let her think about it, the seller. I go, you do what you need to do, you figure it out. But if you do list it on MLS, we're going to go in. So
Mhm.
either way, I'm going to represent my guys, whether it's a private sale and then you're going to be paying the buyer's commission, or you put it on MLS, you're still doing the same thing. You're paying both commissions.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, you know what? Let's do, the private sale. And then when we did to your question about point A, what do we uncover? Just inspection. Like the home beautifully renovated, but there was certain issues that arose that were like, okay, you know what? This needs to be taken care of before completion. Also, second, price. They wanted this price, but there was no one else on the table. So we were able to bring that price down where my clients were like, hey, you know what? That makes sense. So yeah.
Got it. Um, that sounds really overwhelming. And probably not at the beginning
Mm.
because at the beginning, probably your clients are just like, oh, great, like private sale, easy,
Yes.
easy.
Yes.
Let's do
Yes.
this. They probably are okay with the price already,
Yes.
and they
Yes.
just
Yes.
need to hand it over.
Mm.
Um, but as things unfold,
Yes.
something simple like just here's the cash, we'll take the house
Mm.
and start feeling quite overwhelming. So
Yes.
I really feel for those who are first-time home buyers.
Mm-hmm.
They've saved so much for many, many years
Yes.
to buy their very first home.
Mm-hmm.
Not really their dream home. It's just to like have a place to live and just to get
Yeah.
it. So what would you say would be like one piece of advice that you give to first-time buyers who feel overwhelmed with
Mm.
process?
That's a good question, John. I feel like for me, don't rush. Like the right home will always come when you're informed. When you're not informed, that's when anxiety creeps in. You feel stressed out. So I feel like surrounding yourself with the right team, meaning trusted realtor, trusted mortgage broker, inspector, asking every little question, whether it's big or small. I feel like a true real estate professional will always slow things down for you when the time is right.
So for you as a realtor,
Mhm.
what are some things that you feel that a client has to be informed about?
So in terms of expectations, I feel like that's one, understanding the market, like not just the areas that they're focusing on, but trends of like the neighboring neighborhood that they're looking at. sales trends, how much inventory is actually in the market right now, what's happening. So they have a full like idea of like going in, like the blueprint. And I
Mhm.
feel like if you have the blueprint, it's easier to ask questions because you really know what to ask for. But if you're just like, hey, here's a buyer's tour, let's go check out homes.
Mhm.
You can check out home for 2 years. Like, like you'll get that at open houses. Like how, and I'll always ask, how long have you been looking for? Oh, off and on for 5 years. I'm like, why are you wasting 5 years? Like you should have been in your home already,
Mhm.
right? So I feel like that guidance, and I feel like just stylistically finding the right team, I think
Yeah.
helps because it really shortens the process for you guys. Yeah.
Mhm. No, that's great advice for buyers. What about sellers? I feel like sellers, when market is hot, they could just literally just put on MLS on the market and like 1 or 2 weekends, like it will just
Yes.
sold, regardless of what condition it is. But
Yeah.
now, no, things are back to balance. It's actually, I would
Yes.
say, quote unquote, normal market.
Yes.
We've just been really, I guess, spoiled
Yes.
with
Yes.
this up market going up.
Hmm.
So for sellers, I guess regardless of the market, they're always like, Dave, I want top dollars.
Of course.
You
Of
gotta make it
course.
work.
Of course.
What advice would you give to them to really truly maximize their home value? Because I think every seller will probably, even this private sale, and I don't blame them. Like, I
Hmm.
think every seller thinks their property's the best
Of course. All the time.
out of all the
Hmm.
other options out there.
Yeah.
But truly, like for a buyer to view the seller's home
Hmm.
as the quote unquote top dollars,
Hmm. Hmm.
what advice would you give them?
I feel like to be very honest with your real estate agent in terms of what your next goal is or what you're trying to do. And I feel like if you and I'll break this down a little bit more, John. If you're trying to upsize from townhouse to single detached, like understand the numbers. I feel like you have to understand the numbers in terms of yes, I understand that your townhome is beautiful. It's the best townhome out of 150 ones that are on the market, right? And they want top dollar. I get that part. But it comes with the process of like, hey, if we're trying to upsize, and I think this is the key here. You have to understand the numbers of like if there's potential for you to upsize and then the margins of the single detached home you're saving is 300,000 because it's still sitting on the market, whereas your margins of the townhouse is a $50,000 decrease in what your expectations are.
Mhm.
Do the math. What's a bigger savings? You're obviously selling slightly lower to get to your dream home, right? So I feel like those honest conversations will be easier to have upfront rather than taking an overpriced listing and say, hey, you know what, let's do a price reduction. Why are we doing a price reduction? Why are we having this conversation now? Like have it earlier. Like I'm not scared. I'm not scared to have these conversations. I read the room pretty well in terms of like personality wise, but I feel like if you're very honest about it, and then if they're willing to prep it up in terms of making it show home ready,
Mhm.
then we'll come to a particular price that I feel like based on buyers' trends, buyer psychology, and how they're thinking and educating them because it's been a while that they probably bought or sold because it's been 7 years. I'm assuming every 7 years that they're always upsizing. So it's been a while. So their memory of when they bought such a different era. So I think it's more of like educating them and being really on the same page. And once that clicks, everything moves in motion. So yeah.
Cool. I want to have a little bit of fun with this question.
No,
You
okay.
you have probably lots of experience with like showing
Yes.
homes,
Yes.
going to other people's place and
Yes.
just doing tours.
Yes. Yes.
What's the most unusual or quirky thing that you've ever seen happen during a home tour?
I don't think I've ever shared this story with anybody, but since you asked, I will share. So we're doing a showing in downtown, tenanted property. Obviously, as you know, tenanted properties are harder to see.
Mhm.
So we were touring. It's a two-bedroom unit, touring it, and I happened to open the closet for my clients. And then we saw some adult toys,
Oh,
handcuffs.
wow.
Uh, yeah, which is fine, which is fine. But it was like it was a nice display. It was like all displayed. So, for the past like after that, I think for the next few weeks we called it the sex house or the sex condo. We never wrote on it, but I'm just
Okay.
yeah, it was kind of like usually like a lot of tenants would kind of keep it secluded in a safer secret spot, right? But
Yeah.
this one was just like it's like you open it, it was like, like a nice wine rack or like, toys or like, like but it was like their collectibles, like, like toys, like
Yeah.
handcuffs, like just the whole gimmick. And I was just like, wow. Yeah. So
Did you say anything to the listing agent?
no, I think they knew. They
Oh, they
just
knew.
didn't, yeah,
Okay.
they just didn't say anything. Yeah.
I
To
see.
me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just wondering like if they'll talk about like the view, like backlit view, like
Yes, yes, yes,
but
yes,
just other things.
yes. Yeah,
Um, I think we're close to the end of the episode. I have a
sure,
couple more questions.
sure.
Um, I think for me and also for you, like um it's a very emotional journey
Yes.
whenever one buys or sells.
Mm,
And even for us being professionals in the industry, like, and then doing it so many times,
yes,
it's actually our turn. Like, for at least for me, I felt like, oh man, this is actually stressful, emotional.
yes.
Um, you thought you found the place, but
Mm,
then it didn't go through, and there's just this roller coaster up and down.
mm.
So how do you as a realtor support your clients through that process?
Um, I tell them you're actually allowed to feel everything. And because it's such an emotional roller coaster, like my job is to really balance emotion with strategy. And I feel like once there's a game plan set from the beginning, whether the emotions go high or low, I'm able to kind of maintain it back to the game plan that we're going through. So whether it's like calming nerves or stepping in with a solution, um, I'm always there. Like, I'm always, like I said, 10 steps ahead. So I'm always like, oh, it's deviating left. I'm always there to kind of bring it back. So yeah.
Um, I think you always get this question, and it's like,
Mm.
oh, how's the market? So
Yes,
we
yes.
are recording this in April 2025. I
Mm.
know market goes up and down, and
Mm.
probably every month is different. But
Yes.
as of now, as the time of recording,
Hmm.
what would you say is the trend of the real estate market at this time
Yeah.
for
I
buyers and
feel, yeah, 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 yeah. I feel like we're definitely feeling a cooling trend, where buyers can take a really good breath. They don't have to rush into anything. It's definitely giving a lot of buyers negotiating power and time. And I think that's a key. Time to do due diligence, which is huge, especially for first timers or, whether you're selling and buying at the same time, like you have that time, right? So I feel like that's quite important.
are
Whereas
you seeing
before,
any
yes,
are you seeing any subject to sales?
yes.
You are? Okay. I feel that that's a very good indication
Hmm.
of where the market is if
Hmm.
buyers can put in a term subject to sale.
Yes, yes. And some agents are taking subject to sale right away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, yes.
Um, yeah, so definitely a lot of opportunity if
Hmm.
you're a buyer. Um, so should buyers continue to wait and see, or should they jump in now? Like what should they do if they are ready and want to get the best deal?
I feel like obviously consult with your real estate professional, right? But in terms of jumping in, I feel like it's a great opportunity. We haven't really seen like this type of market where you have so many different options, so many different products, so many products in different sub neighborhoods that you could really just be like, hey, do I really want this? Or actually, I might not like this one. I can go for this one. So I feel like there's room in terms of, finding the right price, since there's lots of inventory. So yeah, I think if it aligns stylistically with your agent timeline, I don't think you should just wait. Like why just get in there, right? So yeah.
That's great. The last question.
Yes.
So no, for buyers and sellers
Yes.
who want to remember one thing after hearing you today,
Hmm.
what do you hope it is?
I don't think it's about just homes. Like I feel like it's all about people, and I'll kind of elaborate here. Like when you truly work with someone that's, who really cares, has integrity, is professional, I feel like that entire experience changes for the better. And I'll explain a little bit in detail. You'll probably hear, John, like whether, mortgage brokers or realtors, I've had a bad experience
Mhm.
in the past. That always comes up, and they're always switching, whether mortgage brokers or real estate agents. And there's a reason why, because that expectation wasn't met. So I feel like in terms of just align yourself and trust yourself that you need to find a trusted professional that has integrity, that really cares, and then that really goes a long way.
So for anyone listening who is looking for someone who they can trust,
Yes.
who has integrity and
Yes.
professional,
Hmm.
and they don't have a realtor,
Hmm.
what's the best way to reach out to you?
Anyway, whether it's on our website, www.thekeyagents.com, social media, or my email, phone number. Yep, any way works.
Awesome. So we're gonna have all your contact information in the show notes. If you are looking to reach out to Dave, go there and send him a DM, message, text. He will reply, and hopefully he'll be able to help you get started in the process.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you so much, Dave.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Take care. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider giving us a review and subscribing to our podcast on your favorite platform. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Asian Connection Mortgage Podcast.